Most people assume that feeling old is simply the result of age. But I am here to tell you, that's not the whole truth. At 89 years old, I wake up at 4:30 a.m. without an alarm clock, with crystal clear mental clarity. I walk 5 miles every morning without pain, without a cane, without even getting winded. I live completely medication-free while my peers rely on a dozen pills just to function. And no, I'm not some genetic anomaly or blessed with superhuman DNA. I'm simply aligned with something that 99% of people ignore: the profound science of how your mind, body, and daily habits literally sculpt the experience of aging at the cellular level. But here's what will shock you. Last month, I had my biological age tested using the most advanced epigenetic clocks available to science today. The results? My cells are functioning at the level of a 58-year-old. That means I've effectively reversed over 30 years of biological aging. This video is not about reversing time through some miracle cure or expensive treatment. It's about working with your biology, your environment, and your mind in harmony, so that you don't just get older, you get wiser, stronger, and more vibrantly alive with each passing year. Feeling young is not a fantasy sold by the anti-aging industry. It is a measurable, reproducible biological state that you can activate every single day, if you understand the precise science behind it. I've spent the last 65 years studying this science, not in laboratories, but in my own body. I've tested every principle I'm about to share with you. Some of these discoveries will challenge everything you think you know about aging. But by the end of this video, you'll have a complete blueprint for biological age reversal that has taken me a lifetime to perfect. So stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to share the most powerful technique I've discovered, one that can shift your cellular age by decades in just 21 days. Let's begin with a fundamental truth that the medical establishment is only now beginning to understand. Chronological age, that number on your identification card, is absolutely meaningless when it comes to how you feel, how you function, and how long you'll live. What truly matters is your biological age. And here's the revolutionary part. Biological age is completely fluid. It can go up, and more importantly, it can go down. Biological age reflects the actual condition of 5 critical systems in your body: your brain's processing speed, memory formation, and neuroplasticity, your mobility, muscle strength, and nervous system coordination, your cardiovascular efficiency and immune system resilience, your sleep architecture and hormonal balance, your cellular energy production and DNA repair mechanisms. Scientists at Harvard Medical School recently published a study that stunned the longevity research community. They followed 2,500 people over 20 years and discovered that individuals of the same chronological age could have biological ages spanning a 40-year range. 2 70-year-olds sitting side by side could have one with the biology of a 50-year-old and another functioning at the level of a 90-year-old. The Stanford Longevity Center found that biological age is not fixed. Using specific interventions, they reversed participants' biological age by an average of 2.5 years in just 8 weeks. Some participants saw reversals of up to 8 years. According to cutting-edge research from Harvard, Stanford, the Mayo Clinic, and traditional Eastern medicine that I've practiced for 7 decades, it comes down to mastering 5 interconnected systems. First, the brain, specifically neuroplasticity and cognitive reserve. Second, the nervous system's ability to maintain precision and responsiveness. Third, the mitochondria, your cellular powerhouses that determine your energy and vitality. Fourth, your inflammatory response and how well you control cellular damage. And fifth, your sense of purpose and meaning, which has been proven to directly influence genetic expression. Science has now definitively proven that purpose, that feeling of having something meaningful to wake up for, literally changes your DNA expression and can add years to your life. When you align all 5 systems, something remarkable happens. Your body doesn't just slow its aging process, it begins to reverse it. One of the most devastating myths about aging is that mental decline is inevitable. Brain fog, Memory lapses, difficulty concentrating. We're told these are natural parts of getting older. This is not just wrong, it's dangerously wrong. Your brain is not like a machine that wears out with use. It's more like a muscle that gets stronger with the right kind of exercise. And unlike muscles, your brain can literally grow new cells and create new neural pathways until the day you die. This is called neuroplasticity. Dr. Michael Merzenich from UCSF, who pioneered neuroplasticity research, found that people in their 80s and 90s can still generate new brain cells and form new neural connections if they challenge their brains correctly. But here's what most people get wrong. Random mental activity doesn't create neuroplasticity. Doing crossword puzzles or playing brain games might feel productive, but research shows they have minimal impact on real-world cognitive function. What actually rewires your brain are specific types of learning that challenge multiple cognitive systems simultaneously. Let me share my daily brain training protocol that I've refined over 65 years. Every morning at 5 a.m. after my meditation, I spend exactly 20 minutes on what I call cognitive cross-training. I start with mental arithmetic, complex calculations that force my working memory to hold multiple pieces of information. Today, for example, I calculated 17 times 23, then added 156, then divided by 7, all in my head. Next, I learned something completely new, not reviewing old knowledge, but genuinely novel information. This month, I'm learning Portuguese. Last month, it was quantum physics. The subject doesn't matter. Novelty literally triggers the growth of new neural pathways. Then I practice dual end-back training, holding sequences of information in my mind while simultaneously processing new inputs. I might recite a poem while calculating a mathematical sequence. Finally, I spend 10 minutes in complete silence, no screens, no distractions, simply observing my thoughts without judgment. This strengthens the default mode network in your brain, crucial for memory consolidation and creative problem solving. This 20-minute routine activates the hippocampus, your memory center, the prefrontal cortex for executive function, and the limbic system for emotional regulation. A 15-year study from Tokyo University found that adults who followed similar cognitive training protocols reduced their risk of dementia by 48% and maintained the cognitive function of people 20 years younger. The most important part? Consistency trumps intensity. I've done this routine every single day for 65 years because your brain responds to consistency, not sporadic effort. Now let me share something that could revolutionize how you think about energy and vitality. Inside every single cell in your body, you have between 100 and 2,000 tiny structures called mitochondria. These are your cellular powerhouses. They take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert them into pure energy. You have approximately 37 trillion of these microscopic engines working right now to keep you alive and energized. Mitochondria are not fixed structures. They are dynamic, responsive, and incredibly adaptable. They can become more efficient, more numerous, and more powerful at any age. Or they can deteriorate rapidly if you don't give them what they need. The difference between feeling exhausted at 50 and feeling energetic at 89 often comes down to the health of your mitochondria. Most elderly people feel tired not because they're old, but because their mitochondria are under constant attack from what I call the 4 destroyers of cellular energy. The first destroyer is glucose spikes. Every time you eat processed sugar or refined carbohydrates, your blood glucose skyrockets, creating glycation. Sugar molecules stick to your mitochondria and damage them. The second destroyer is chronic inflammation. When your body constantly fights inflammation from poor diet, stress, or environmental toxins, it diverts energy away from mitochondrial maintenance. The third destroyer is sedentary behavior. Your mitochondria operate on use it or lose it. When you don't challenge them with movement, they literally shrink and become less efficient. The fourth destroyer is poor sleep. During deep sleep, your mitochondria undergo crucial repair processes. Without adequate sleep, they accumulate damage faster than they can repair it. Let me share the mitochondrial optimization protocol that has kept my energy levels higher at 89 than most people have at 50. Every morning, before I consume any food, I do mitochondrial activation movement. Just 5 minutes of walking, stretching, or light calisthenics before breakfast can increase mitochondrial efficiency by up to 20% for the entire day. Instead of coffee, which creates energy through stimulation and stress, I drink green tea. The L-theanine and catechins provide sustained energy while protecting mitochondria from oxidative damage. Research from Kyoto University shows that people who drink green tea daily have 15% more efficient mitochondria than coffee drinkers. My most powerful mitochondrial strategy: I practice time-restricted eating. I consume all my food within a 12-hour window, typically from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. During the 12-hour fasting period, my cells enter autophagy, where damaged mitochondria are broken down and recycled into new, more efficient ones. This isn't about calories or weight loss. This is about giving your mitochondria dedicated time for maintenance and regeneration. Studies show that people who practice time-restricted eating have mitochondria that function like those of people 10-15 years younger. I also consume mitochondrial superfoods daily: wild-caught fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, leafy greens high in CoQ10, berries packed with antioxidants, and nuts containing healthy fats. The result? At 89, I wake up naturally with more energy than most people half my age. Let me tell you about something happening in your body right now that's either keeping you young or rapidly aging you: chronic inflammation. It's the single most important factor determining how fast you age. Chronic inflammation is different from injury inflammation. It's a low-grade fire that burns inside your body 24/7, silently damaging your joints, fogging your brain, exhausting your energy, and accelerating every aspect of aging. You can't feel chronic inflammation like acute inflammation. Instead, it manifests as fatigue, brain fog, stiff joints, poor sleep, and feeling older than your years. Most people accept these as normal aging, never realizing they're suffering from preventable inflammatory damage. Research from Harvard Medical School found that people with high inflammatory markers age at the cellular level 50% faster than those with low inflammation. The difference can literally mean feeling 60 at 70 or feeling 80 at 70. But inflammation is largely under your control. You can dramatically reduce inflammation through specific daily practices. And when you do, you don't just slow aging, you can actually reverse many of its effects. My daily anti-inflammatory protocol that has kept my inflammatory markers at the level of a 30-year-old. Every morning, I drink my golden elixir, tea made with turmeric, ginger, black pepper, and honey. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever discovered. But curcumin is poorly absorbed unless combined with piperine from black pepper and a small amount of fat. This combination increases absorption by up to 2,000%. I completely avoid the inflammatory trinity: processed sugar, refined oils, and processed foods. These trigger inflammatory cascades that last for hours after consumption. Instead, I eat whole foods that actively fight inflammation: fatty fish rich in omega-3s, colorful vegetables packed with antioxidants, herbs and spices with anti-inflammatory compounds. I practice daily stress management through meditation and breathing exercises. Chronic stress triggers cortisol release that directly promotes inflammation. Just 10 minutes of deep breathing can measurably reduce inflammatory markers within hours. I also practice hormesis, controlled exposure to mild stressors that strengthen my body's anti-inflammatory defenses. This includes brief cold exposure like cold showers, intermittent fasting, and moderate exercise. At age 75, I had my inflammatory markers tested alongside 25-year-olds. My levels were actually lower than the young adults. This wasn't genetics. It was 50 years of consistent anti-inflammatory practices. There's an ancient Japanese proverb that has guided my life: to stop walking is to start dying. Movement isn't just about muscles or cardiovascular health. It's about maintaining the communication network between your brain and body that keeps you truly alive and responsive. Your nervous system is like electrical wiring. When all connections are strong and clear, everything functions beautifully. But when connections weaken, systems start to fail. Your nervous system operates on use it or lose it, even more strictly than muscles. Every movement requires precise coordination between your brain, spinal cord, and peripheral nerves. When you stop performing certain movements, your nervous system literally disconnects from those patterns. Neural pathways controlling balance, coordination, and quick reflexes deteriorate. This is why elderly people fall, not because they're weak, but because their nervous system has forgotten how to react quickly to unexpected situations. The signal doesn't reach their muscles fast enough, or muscles don't respond with enough coordination. But you can rewire and strengthen these neural pathways at any age. The key is understanding that not all movement is equal for nervous system health. You need specific types of movement that challenge your nervous system's precision and adaptability. My movement protocol that has kept my nervous system functioning like someone 40 years younger. Every morning I spend 10 minutes walking barefoot on natural, uneven ground. Your feet contain over 200,000 nerve endings that send constant feedback to your brain about your position in space. When you always wear shoes on flat surfaces, you deprive your nervous system of crucial sensory input. Walking barefoot forces your brain to constantly recalibrate and adapt. I practice precision movement challenges, slow, controlled movements requiring intense focus. Standing on one foot with eyes closed for 30 seconds. Walking heel to toe in a straight line, reaching for objects while maintaining perfect balance. These rebuild neural pathways that keep you stable and responsive. Every evening, I perform nerve awakening exercises. I tap along my legs and arms with fingertips, activating peripheral nerves. I do ankle circles and calf raises to maintain circulation. I practice finger and toe movements that maintain dexterity. I regularly practice movements requiring split-second reactions, catching a ball thrown at different angles, responding to sudden sounds by moving in specific directions, simple reaction games that challenge processing speed. Dr. Teresa Lou Ambrose at the University of British Columbia found that seniors who practiced balance exercises for just 6 months showed measurable increases in brain white matter, neural connections allowing brain regions to communicate efficiently. Most importantly, I never sit for more than 30 minutes at a time. Every half hour, I stand and move for at least 2 minutes. This maintains neural connections between my brain and body. Now I want to share perhaps the most profound discovery in longevity science. For thousands of years, spiritual traditions taught that purpose and meaning are essential for fulfilling life. Today, we know that purpose doesn't just make life worth living, it literally makes life longer and healthier at the cellular level. Dr. Patricia Boyle from Rush University followed over 1,000 elderly adults for 7 years, measuring their sense of purpose and tracking health outcomes. People with the highest sense of purpose were 44% less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease and lived an average of 7 years longer than those with the lowest sense of purpose. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that elderly adults with strong purpose had 30% lower stroke risk, 50% better immune response to vaccines, 40% better sleep quality, significantly sharper memory and cognitive function, lower inflammatory markers, and more efficient stress response systems. When you have strong purpose, several remarkable things happen. First, purpose reduces chronic stress. When you wake up with something meaningful to do, your cortisol levels naturally regulate. Second, purpose activates eudaimonic well-being, happiness from meaning rather than pleasure. This triggers genes that fight inflammation and boost immune function. Third, purpose gives your brain cognitive reserve, creating more neural connections and maintaining existing ones more effectively. My purpose is simple but profound. I teach, I listen, I serve, and I share what I've learned. Every day I wake up knowing someone might benefit from my accumulated wisdom. Purpose doesn't need to be grandiose. Being there for grandchildren, maintaining a garden, teaching a skill, volunteering for a cause. The key is that it's personally meaningful, larger than yourself, something you can work toward daily, and adaptable as you change. I've watched my purpose evolve over decades. In younger years, it was mastering my craft and supporting my family. In middle age, teaching and mentoring others. Now, at 89, it's sharing accumulated wisdom with anyone willing to listen. But I've seen the devastating effects of losing purpose. Vibrant, healthy people deteriorate rapidly after retirement, not because their bodies failed, but because they lost their reason for getting up each morning. The Okinawans call this ikigai, your reason for being. They believe maintaining your ikigai is essential for longevity. Scientific research has proven them right. What is your ikigai? What gets you excited to wake up each morning? Find that purpose, nurture it, and let it guide your daily choices. Your body will respond by giving you the energy, health, and longevity to fulfill it. Now let me share how to integrate these 5 pillars into a practical daily protocol. 4:30 a.m. Wake naturally, drink 16 ounces of water. 4:45 a.m. 5 minutes of gentle movement while barefoot. 5:04 a.m. 20 minutes of meditation and intention setting. 5:30 a.m. 20 minutes of brain training. 6 a.m. Prepare turmeric ginger tea and plan the day. 7 a.m. Nutrient-dense meal breaking my 12-hour fast. 8 a.m. Engage in meaningful work when mental energy is highest. 10 a.m. 30 minutes walking outdoors on natural surfaces. 12 p.m. Second meal followed by 20 minutes of rest. 2 p.m. Time with others for social connection. 4 p.m. Learning new knowledge or skills. 6 p.m. Final meal, ending 12-hour eating window. 7 p.m. Gentle movement and nerve awakening exercises. 9 p.m. Prepare optimal sleep environment. 10 p.m. Consistent bedtime for 6.5 times 7 hours of sleep. You don't need to follow this exactly, but consistency in these key areas will create remarkable results over time. Before I close, let me share the most powerful technique I've discovered for rapid biological age reversal, the 21-day cellular reset. This protocol can shift your cellular age by years in just 3 weeks. Days 1-7. Inflammation reset. Eliminate all processed foods, sugar, and inflammatory oils. Consume only whole, anti-inflammatory foods and my golden elixir daily. Days 8-14. Mitochondrial activation. Add time-restricted eating and daily movement before breakfast. This supercharges your cellular powerhouses. Days 15-21. Neural rewiring. Introduce daily cognitive challenges and precision movement exercises. This rebuilds the brain-body connection. Throughout all 21 days, maintain consistent sleep timing, daily meditation, and connection to your purpose. People who complete this protocol often report feeling 10-15 years younger, with dramatically improved energy, mental clarity, and physical function. My dear listener, aging is not your enemy. Stagnation is. Accepting decline is. Giving up on growth and learning and contributing, that is what makes people old. If you continue to move with purpose, learn with curiosity, love with openness, nourish with wisdom, and breathe with awareness, then no matter your chronological age, you will feel young in the places that matter most: your mind, your heart, and your spirit. I have lived 89 years not by fighting against time, but by dancing with it. I am not trying to be 30 again. I am becoming the most vibrant, wise, and alive version of myself at 89. The 5 pillars I've shared: brain health, mitochondrial optimization, inflammation control, nervous system maintenance, and purposeful living, these are practical, proven strategies that can transform your biology at any age. But knowledge without action is merely entertainment. The real transformation begins when you start implementing these practices in your own life. Walk with mindful awareness. Eat with gratitude and wisdom. Rest with complete peace. Think with clarity and curiosity. And serve with an open heart, knowing that your purpose gives meaning to every breath. Your body is listening to every choice you make. Your cells are responding to every thought you think. Your DNA is expressing itself based on how you live each day. At 89, I am more alive, more energetic, and more excited about the future than most people half my age. This isn't luck or genetics. It's the natural result of living in alignment with the science of human potential. You have that same potential within you right now. The question is, what will you do with it? My name is Monk Hanzo. I have shared with you the science behind feeling young at 89. Now it's time for you to prove that age is just a number and that your best years can be ahead of you, no matter when you were born. The journey to biological youth begins with your very next choice. Choose wisely, my friend. Your future self is counting on it.